Fibromyalgia. Currently, doctors do not recognize this as a health condition, and yet it seems to be affecting more and more women today. From my research and experience working with clients, all that comes back to me is this is a condition that can be autoimmune related, but equally hormone related as well. It can also be triggered by emotions and trauma. So we want to get to the underlying root cause of where this pain comes from. In this chapter, I've given you a PDF handout to read, to follow, and a guide of what foods that you should be avoiding, because there are food triggers that will create pain and inflammation. And there are also foods that you need to be eating and drinks that will help you reduce inflammation and the pain that comes with fibromyalgia, as well as symptoms like chronic fatigue. So from my research, what comes back all the time is that having a low thyroid is connected to the pain that comes with fibromyalgia. And also through the menstrual cycle, you may find that during your cycle, when your period is due, or possibly even after, your symptoms can become worse. You have a flare-up, you get more pain. And this can be created because you have too much estrogen. So you know there is a condition known as estrogen dominance, which many of us are living with today, and we perceive it as being normal because everyone has symptoms of PMS with bloating, weight gain, water retention, etc. But in fibromyalgia, that pain may increase because of estrogen dominance, which means if you have estrogen dominance, we need to raise progesterone. So we have the progesterone chapter in this course, which means you need to eat foods and drinks that raise progesterone naturally. You also need to look at your thyroid health. I've given you everything I can for your thyroid and helping boost your thyroid naturally so that you can reduce these symptoms of fibromyalgia as well. So for your thyroid, the main ingredient that we need is iodine. Without iodine, we cannot feed the thyroid. Now, from all the research I have on the thyroid, a condition with the thyroid is also fibromyalgia, because fibromyalgia symptoms can be reduced by taking iodine. So iodine, as I've said in the thyroid chapter, we need it throughout our whole entire body. We need it through our cells. We need it in our ovaries. We need it in our breast tissues. We need it in the thyroid gland. We need iodine. So we need to be taking these supplements, and we need to be avoiding the food triggers. I've worked with many clients with fibromyalgia, and the common foods that they like to eat, one is dairy, and dairy is high in estrogen. So you're going to give your body more estrogen. And it's also a food that can give you chronic inflammation. If you have beauty in the gut, I tell you to avoid dairy because it's meant for an animal. It's not meant for human consumption. Then women tend to have addictions to refined sugars. Very common. We like our sugar. Many of us do. That's white flour, it's biscuits, it's cakes, it's all the sugary chocolates and sweets, and even sweeteners, aspartame in drinks. Anything that is sweet is going to give you chronic inflammation. That's going to create a flare-up, and then of course it makes your hormone problems worse as well. You can't make hormones when you eat so much sugar. You need to be reducing that consumption. And when I say sugar, it's not about fruit. This fruit is healthy. We need fruit for its fiber and its antioxidants, all the nutrition that fruit has. But sugar does not have any nutrition. Sugar steals your nutrition. One of the things that sugar likes to steal is magnesium. And what is magnesium needed for? It's needed for your hormones. It's needed for around 300 different functions, maybe possibly even more functions in the human body. And every time you eat sugar, you're depleting your body of this magnesium. So you need to have magnesium, and magnesium is also going to help with pain. So things like dark leafy greens contain high magnesium, but as I've covered in one of the chapters with the food, I've told you that we cannot get enough nutrition from our food sources today because of how depleted the soils are. So we have to take supplements. You can take that magnesium spray, you can put it underneath the feet, spray it before you go to bed, feed your body through the feet with the magnesium, have an Epsom salt bath, bathe in it for at least 20 minutes so that you're absorbing all of the salts into your body. And Epsom salts and magnesium help to draw toxins out of your body, which is another cause that could be for fibromyalgia as well. So you need to think about how many toxins you are, number one, applying to your skin. So you need to reduce how much toxicity you're putting onto your skin through shampoos, through cosmetics, through body lotions, etc. Because every time you apply things to your skin, you absorb it into the bloodstream and you don't know how that's affecting your pain. That product, whatever you've used that's not natural, could be giving you problems. So if you are interested in natural supplements, you have my Tropic store where I sell beautiful, gorgeous smelling products that actually help to heal your skin and will not bombard you with so many toxins that are going to cause you hormone problems and feed disease as well. So check out my shop if you're interested in that. And then we have things like heavy metals from vaccines and mercury fillings, of course, in our mouths. But not just that, it's in our water supply today, it's in our air, it's in our environments. Heavy metals are everywhere. It's included in our food as well. Even organic food has heavy metals. We cannot escape these heavy metals. They are all around us, breathing them in, absorbing them in our skin with our products that we use. As I've said, they're everywhere. So we can't avoid them, which means we need to have a healthy liver and we need to have a healthy gut microbiome in order to eliminate these heavy metals. So by understanding how you need to detoxify your body, that's a crucial part of helping you reduce the pain, maybe heal. We don't know yet. There's still not enough research on fibromyalgia. But what I will say to you is this: cleanse your liver. Do everything that I have told you in the liver section to heal your liver so that you have a healthy liver that can cope with the amount of toxins that are in the environment, the air, the food, etc. today. And also, of course, we need to have a healthy gut microbiome because that is where everything stems from. It's here in the gut. You have gut dysbiosis, you have parasites, you have pathogens. You don't know what is in that gut unless you, of course, you've been for a colonic. I've had clients go for colonics. They've had a colonic. They've been so backed up that worms have come out of them. You have to have a healthy colon to have a healthy body. Whenever you do not have a healthy colon, all of that sewage in your colon, what you're supposed to be excreting daily, which goes into your bowel movements, you should be moving your bowels at least once, twice, 3 times per day, ideally. And if you're not, all that sewage goes into your lymphatic system, and that could also be causing your pain. So you need to eat more fiber. And getting into that food content, you have my recipe book, Health Empowerment, which is where I encourage you to eat more of a plant-based whole foods diet so that you are eliminating inflammation. Because any pain in your body is a sign of chronic inflammation, a fire. This fire is burning inside of you. And that could be coming from so many different sources. That dairy, the gluten, which I've told you in my book, Beauty in the Gut to Avoid as well, and the sugar, which we've mentioned already. And if you drink alcohol, of course, we know alcohol is not good for us. If you drink any kind of sodas or sweeteners, and even coffee as well, because you're taxing the adrenals. So if you have chronic fatigue, your chronic fatigue, as I've covered in the adrenal chapter, can be coming because of how much stimulation you're getting. So stimulation can come from the form of coffee. It can come from also our phones, because we're being stimulated too much. We wake up every day, we turn our phones on, or the phone wasn't even switched off, it's going off constantly. We don't get enough time to actually rest, repair, and heal our body. So that means we're in our fight or flight all the time. And you cannot heal your body when you're in fight or flight. So you have constant high cortisol. And high cortisol creates chronic inflammation. So your cortisol can be high because of fight or flight, because we're constantly stressed out, living these, new lives of being on technology every single day. But then you have food sources that also come in, and that creates chronic inflammation as well. So gluten, dairy, sugar, chronic inflammation raises high cortisol. When you have high cortisol, you also have high estrogen. When you have high estrogen, you have low progesterone. When you have low progesterone, you have low thyroid. So everything in the human body is connected. You have to switch this fight or flight off by eliminating the causes of why you're in fight or flight. That's yoga, of course, meditation, breath work, being around nature, using essential oils, which I've given you in the cortisol chapter, that you can apply to your skin, also breathe in to calm down the nervous system. And get out there, go for walks. If you have sunshine, of course, sunshine is one of the most powerful healers to the human body and will instantly switch on your healing mechanism that we need. But if you don't have sunshine, we do need to be supplementing every day with vitamin D3 and K2, because that itself as well is also a powerful healer. So have a read of the handout and just take into consideration everything that I've said in my book, Beauty in the Gut. When you have pain, that is your signal you have chronic inflammation. And yes, we don't know where that chronic inflammation is coming from, especially if it's an autoimmune. And as I've covered, fibromyalgia is known to be autoimmune as well. We have to switch off the autoimmune button. So whenever you get diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, you want to imagine that your button has been switched on. Your immune system is on alert. And every time things come in that your body is like absorbing, whether that's from your chemicals that you're inhaling or from the food or from the stress, these antibodies rise. And when your antibodies rise, it sets off this immune reaction. So what we want to do is turn the button off. We need to get it off. We can lower it down, we can turn the notch down, but we want to ideally get it off so that we can lower our immunity altogether. And you have to do that with diet, and you have to do it with lifestyle. You have to change if you want to see results with your healing. You can't continue doing the same things that make you sick. If you expect to heal, you have to give up everything that is making you sick. And that's the hardest part, because in our mind, we have all these habits that we create. And as you age, it gets harder because you've built up these habits through your youth. You got so used to doing things. You've been brought up doing things in a certain way. So of course, when you get older, those habits can be with you. So all you have to do, if you have a habit, trying to break it, replace that habit with something else. Because for me, this is how it worked. If I say I'm not going to do something, I will need to have something in place of that so that I don't do that thing. So let's say, for example, I'm addicted to dark chocolate, which isn't a bad thing. Dark chocolate is good for you. It has magnesium. But what if I'm eating too much of it? We need something else in its place. I'm going to have something else. I'm going to have maybe some medjool dates instead of the dark chocolate, just because I need to have a little sweet treat. And for me, that's going to help. So I'm not eliminating the sweetness. I've just gone to a different source of food or a different drink because I want to reduce what else I'm having. I've had clients who are addicted to coffee. One client was so addicted to coffee, I said, okay, this is for hair loss. You are addicted to coffee. For hair loss, we need nettle tea. We have nettle tea, which helps with hair growth and boosting your blood flow, detoxifying and cleansing the blood. Instead of having caffeine, which taxes your adrenals and is going to make your hair fall out, why not have nettle tea instead? And if you're addicted to the taste, we reduce the taste, okay? So if you're having like 4 times per week coffee, why don't you have nettle tea instead? 3 times. So I'm not saying give up the coffee altogether, because then you're going to be like, oh, well, I really need the coffee. Still have it until you get to a point where you can eliminate it all together. We need to just remove things slowly when you have addictive habits, because that's the hard part. Change is hard. Change is not easy. I am fully aware of that. I have had to change so many things in my life to heal from an autoimmune disease. But just understanding the root cause of where does fibromyalgia come from? It comes from many things, which means we need to cleanse the liver. We need to heal the gut. We need to detoxify the body. We need to switch off our fight or flight. And we need to have an understanding of what our hormones are doing, because fibromyalgia is more a female problem. There's not many studies that suggest that men get fibromyalgia. So this is referring to this one thing. It has to do with estrogen and thyroid. If it's more a female problem, it's got to do with our hormones. So heal the thyroid, heal progesterone, also testosterone. That's another one. Testosterone in studies has been shown to reduce pain. So by taking more supplements that naturally raise testosterone, you could be lowering your pain as well. What's the best way to raise testosterone? By lifting as heavy as you possibly can when you weight train. You need to weight train. And if that's giving you more pain, okay, go into yoga, do your yoga and Pilates, but try it, see if it works. I've given you that handout to have a read through it, tick off the things you need to do. If you have my book, Beauty in the Gut, you refer back to that as well. And also health empowerment for your diet, because you can't keep eating the same foods over and over again and expect your body to heal. Okay, check out the handout and enjoy the read.